Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Star Wars Newsnet Live. I am Brian Miller, and I am joined this week by Mr. Miguel Fernandez. How are you doing, brother?
Hey, very good. Very excited to be here.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, we are talking some Mandalorian tonight. I'm all ready for some Mandalorian. We're talking some Mando. We're talking some upcoming Star Wars movies, man. And so it's going to be a fun night, and
Yeah.
we got a lot to talk about this week. And yeah, you just want to kick us off, man? Because I mean, let's talk about some live action films first.
Yeah.
Let's do that first, and then we'll get into some, Mandalorian, what we thought of last week's episode, maybe what's coming up tomorrow. You know what I mean? So, yeah, let's talk about some upcoming films, man. What we got on the docket?
Yeah. So I mean, this has been like the big question, right? Like ever since December 2019 and the rise of Skywalker, and we've been wondering like what's happening here. Are we getting another film? There have been many reports, many announcements, but what is happening really? So I was thinking that maybe we could break down pretty much everything that we've heard and everything that we know is happening, what we know is not happening, and yeah, basically all of that. So yeah, I was thinking going in chronological order, which was so up until a couple of weeks ago, let's say, there have been 6 different projects that we knew of that were in either development or announced.
Mm-hmm.
One of them we're gonna cross off the list right away, which is the Rian Johnson trilogy. Which, feelings aside, that's not happening anytime soon. And pretty much, we're also gonna cross off actually the latest one to be announced, which was the Deadpool 3 guy, Sean Levy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so this was reported by Deadline in November and confirmed by him. We know it's happening sometime, but we know he's gonna do Deadpool 3 first, and then he's gonna move on to Star Wars. Mm-hmm. So we're not touching that for now. So beyond that, going chronologically, the first film to be announced was a Kevin Feige's film. Feige is, of course, Marvel's head. He is a huge Star Wars fan. He drops in Star Wars references on his films everywhere. And so in September 2019, even before Episode 9 came out in theaters, the Hollywood Reporter learned that he was working on a Star Wars film. And not only they heard that, but they reached out to Disney, and Disney said, yeah, that is true. Like Alan Horn, who was the co-chairman of Walt Disney Studios, said, yeah, that is true. Marvel and Lucasfilm are going to work together on a new film that Feige is going to produce.
I remember that.
And that is happening. So, Feige was asked about it a couple of times since then. He played coy about it. He was like, yeah, don't want to talk about that. It is true, but not for now.
Mm-hmm.
So around a bit over a year later, in January of 2021, we learned that Michael Waldron had been hired by Feige to write the script for that film.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who don't know who Waldron is, he was the showrunner of Loki season 1, and he also wrote the Doctor Strange sequel that we got last year. So Waldron confirmed in June of 2021, when Loki came out, that this is true, this is happening, I'm working on it, but Doctor Strange is next. So when Doctor Strange came out, he said, yeah, I just started working on the script. And the timing of that was very funny, because that happened in May. Mm-hmm. And in an interview with Vanity Fair that was published 2 weeks later, but that had been conducted a couple of months earlier, Kathleen Kennedy said, "Yeah, that film with Kevin Feige, that is part of the rumor mill."
Mm-hmm.
So there's a huge disconnect here. And so what happened next? Nothing. Because we learned in October or November that Waldron had pitched an idea for Avengers Secret Wars,
Mm-hmm.
which is Marvel's like big grand finale that is coming out in a few years from now. And he got the job to write the movie. So we were like, okay, what is happening here? Is he writing for Marvel? Is he writing for Star Wars? What is happening?
Mm-hmm.
And well, last week we learned that, yeah, he's well writing for Marvel. He's no longer writing for Star Wars because that movie is dead.
Mm-hmm.
That movie is not moving forward at Lucasfilm. So that's basically the story of all of it. I have a few thoughts, but I want to hear yours first.
So it's the entire road for Disney to get Lucasfilm to get films out right now is just a rocky one. And it's, I've like, even on my show, I've tried to avoid the whole Kathleen Kennedy drama of everybody calling for her head on a platter, basically. And I've tried to stay away from that. Hey, Sydney's in. Hey, what's going on, Sydney? And it's getting to a point where you can't avoid it anymore. You know what I mean? And so we're looking at a situation where the president of Lucasfilm is having a hard time getting on the same page as her directors, as her writers, and it's not a good thing. You know what I mean? It's not what we need. You've got somebody, use Marvel as an example, right? Kevin Feige, we're sitting here talking about him. Kevin Feige understands the source material. He understands the universe. He understands where the universe in his cinematic universe is going. And look at what we got out of it. We got a 23, 24 film saga leading up to Endgame, and it was one of the biggest things ever. And with this one, I think Kevin Feige could have made a really cool Star Wars movie. He like you were saying, he's a Star Wars nerd. He knows the universe. He knows how to tell a story. And I don't think this is a good step for Kathleen Kennedy. And I think it's I don't think it's the final, but I think it's one of the final nails in her coffin.
So here's what I think. And this is a complete conspiracy theory, okay?
I love conspiracy theories.
I'm going to put it out there just ahead of time. Because I was thinking about this, like, I'm more convinced every day about this. I think this film was dumped on Lucasfilm's lap.
Mm-hmm.
I think Feige, after the success of Endgame, if you look at the timeline, everything matches, okay? Because this was reported on September 20-something of 2019. So this means that those conversations had happened earlier, and probably a couple of months earlier. So the timeline matches with the success of Endgame, which became the highest grossing film of all time. Not anymore, but it became.
Right.
And so probably, Feige went upstairs, had a few drinks with Bob Iger, Alan Horn, and they said, okay, what do you want to do next? And he said, you want to know what I would love to do? A Star Wars film. So Alan Horn or Bob Iger or whoever it was said, you know what? I'm going to call Kathleen Kennedy and I'm going to tell her that you're going to do a Star Wars film now. So I don't think I don't think Kennedy was very happy about it,
right.
Ever.
Getting her feet stepped on.
I think this was Disney's call, and this is also why Kennedy said, "Yeah, that's part of the rumor mill," because she never considered it as a real project that they would be developing, and this is gonna play into what it's coming next. But I want to hear. Do you think I'm right? Do you think completely wrong?
I think you might be onto something, because you're right. The timeline matches up perfectly. It was I mean, how fast did Endgame hit $1 billion? And then how fast did it hit? Did it hit 2 billion? It did hit 2 billion.
Yeah,
But
2.7.
how fast did it hit 2 billion? Because it was fast.
It was fast. Yeah, yeah.
It was fast. And so, yeah, I think you're right. I think Disney looks at Kevin Feige after that and says, "You can do whatever you want to do. You just made us $2 billion.
Yeah.
Like you can release a video of a puppy getting massacred in the woods if you want and put the Disney logo on it. We don't care, you know." And so, yeah, I think Alan Horn was definitely like, "Yeah, you can do Star Wars movie." And I think you're right. I think when Kathleen Kennedy got word of that, and I think it was stepping on her toes, and I think she was salty about it. Because I mean, you're talking about somebody. So here's something else to consider too. She is a complete, I don't want to say complete. She's a really, she's a big control freak. That's why
Yeah.
she can't get on the same page as her creative team, and why she's having this, they want to do probably all of these really cool things that, they're fans. We're fans. We want to do cool stuff with Star Wars. So I can't imagine what it is that they want to do. And she's like, no, that doesn't fit into, you can't shove a square peg into a round hole, and we'll change the hole. You've got, and so I think you're right. I think she's got such a grasp on the franchise and on the company that she doesn't want anybody else coming in and telling her no, but to be fair, George Lucas was the exact same way. And look at how the prequels were received in the early 2000s, because he was surrounded by yes men. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, George Lucas will do whatever he says. And so there was nobody there to kind of keep him in check, if you would. You know what I'm saying? And so I think Kathleen Kennedy is going down that same dark tunnel that Lucas did with the prequels now. And it's I hate to say it, it's embarrassing that we've gone, by the time the next film, which we assume is coming out 2025, by the time that film comes out, we'll have gone 6 years without a Star Wars movie. And so I think you're onto something. I really do.
Yeah, and going off the timeline thing, I don't think this was Kennedy's call to shut this off. I think this was Feige's. I think this was like, yeah, they need me back at Marvel. Like when Feige, when they, so if this is true, when they talk this out with Iger and Alan Horn and these people, Feige's plan was to step back. He wanted to have less control over every single project that they were going to put out, because they were going to put out a lot of projects. Now, I don't want to get hung up on Marvel too much, but this is basically the breakdown. He wanted to step back and he wanted to move over to maybe other things. So that's why they hired Waldron after he liked what he did on Loki, and why he started working on the script right after Doctor Strange, etc. But then last year he was like, yeah, we need to concentrate on Marvel. Let's put a hold on that Star Wars thing for now. And Lucasfilm was like, yeah, that's fine with us. Like, we're perfectly okay because we have our own plans, which we're gonna get to.
Thank God. Thank God they have plans.
I think that we're gonna get to Lindelof's film and etc. But I think that this is what is happening. They actually have something in the works.
Oh yeah, and it has been for a while.
Yes,
I think you're right. Yep, and because we know. And we can talk about this a little bit later, because we know they're reporting that we're not getting one film announcement at Celebration. It said plural announcements. I think.
Yeah, I mean that could be.
Yeah, I think what they're going to do is tell everybody, basically come out and say, look, the sequel films were very successful. We learned a lot while doing them. It's going to be their polite way of saying we screwed the pooch with not making a plan, and they're going to say, we learned a lot doing it. And so moving forward, this is what we're doing. We have a 5 to 7 year plan, whatever. And we're going to kick it off with this film. This is the title of it. This is the director. These are the actors. And maybe announce. I wouldn't even be surprised if they come out the way Feige did every time he announced a new phase and had like the timeline on the screen behind him and was like, we planted flags here, 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 and here. And what's coming, we'll find out as we get closer to him.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things to that. Well, first of all, that's like the hope every time one of these events happens. Like I've been hearing that for 10 years, that maybe they're gonna do a timeline thing where they announce all. That never happened. So is it possible? Yes.
Yeah.
Should we hold out hope for
I'm
that?
not holding my breath. No.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But there have been some reports that, yeah, there's a 5-year-ish plan in place inside the headquarters there. So whether they announce all of it, part of it, at Celebration, I don't know. I do think we're gonna get multiple films.
Oh yeah.
Announced. I don't know many details about them, like that we're gonna get many details about them. I do think we're gonna get details about one of them, which is Lindelof's film, which we're gonna get to now. But yeah, I don't know. I lost my point. But yeah, that's maybe a timeline with the the second point was I think they have a problem now because of Avatar. I am not sure what their Disney's plan is with Avatar hitting Christmas in, I think it's 2020. I'm not sure if they're doing 2026. I don't think they are, but maybe 2028. And then Marvel is all over the place as well. With I think they have a few problems if they want to do a movie a year, which I hope they do more, but I don't know.
Right. I think they tried the experiment of more than one Star Wars film a year, and we got
Solo.
We got 2 films within 6 months of each other. We got The Last Jedi and we got Solo, and then we had that 18-month break before Rise of Skywalker, and they've made it a point to kind of pump the brakes on everything for a little while,
which was so stupid. Like they knew the reason why Solo didn't perform as well. Like Bob Iger said, yeah, that was my fault. That was not, the movies, or like they were promoting that film 3 weeks before it came out. Like they didn't do any marketing for it. I had friends who had no idea a Han Solo movie was coming out, and it was like the day before it came out. Like I was trying to recruit friends to go with, and they had no idea it was coming out. And 3 weeks earlier, everybody knew what Endgame, Infinity War was.
Yeah. Well, heck, I mean, both trailers for Solo came out like 4 days apart, if I remember right.
I mean, it was the Super Bowl spot, and then they did the first teaser the morning after, and then a month later they did the full trailer, whatever it was.
I know it was just like right there, and it was right before. I mean, it was just what, a month or 2 before the film. I mean, it was nuts. So I think I really hope they go to. I think personally, one film a year is a good cadence, but the problem is you can't tell all these awesome stories and your hands are kind of tied with what you want to do. If you want to tell a 3-film story and you're only doing 1 film a year, and then there's another story you want to tell, you're staggering your films 2 years apart. And it's like, I think they're going to have to get to a point where they do more than 1 a year.
Yeah, so let's move on to from the comment here about Rey's future. I think we can address that after we do Rogue Squadron, which is like the other half of the report that came out last week, which was 2 films being cancelled. First one being Kevin Feige's, and the second one being Rogue Squadron, which was Patty Jenkins' film that Kennedy announced in December of 2020 during that Disney shareholders event. That and that was, I think we're pretty much convinced that was supposed to be the grand announcement at Celebration of that year. That was like they canceled Celebration because of COVID, but that was supposed to be like that video they had recorded. That was said months before that live stream of the shareholders event happened. In fact, a couple of weeks later, Jenkins said in an interview that they had a treatment already in place, and they were starting with the first draft of the script. So yeah, okay. So a quick breakdown of the events after that announcement. They were very much set on that being the 2023 film. There were some words about it being set after the Rise of Skywalker. That was never really concrete, but it was implied with a few sentences here and there with the initial announcement. And yeah, we learned that she was co-writing the movie and directing, and she was co-writing it with a guy named Matthew Robinson, who had done some work in I can't remember the name of the film, but yeah, he did a film in 2020 that was very well received, I think. And they had also hired a production designer, which is a standard procedure when you're writing the script, which they want you to imagine what the words are, being like, what is the representation of what is being said on the script.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like probably the first 8 to 9 months of 2021 writing that script. And then I think they were supposed to start pre-production in the fall, and they post all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a lot of conflicting reports as to why. There were some people saying that Jenkins was very invested in Wonder Woman 3, which had been announced by Warner Brothers the December prior to that, which was like 10 days after Kennedy made the announcement of Rogue Squadron. And people said that, yeah, that's why she moved back to DC, that she wasn't as focused on Rogue Squadron. I don't think that is the case, but it is possible that it was one of the contributing factors.
Mm-hmm.
So that movie was put on pause, and going forward 1 year, Wonder Woman 3 was axed because DC Studios was created, James Gunn and Peter Safran were hired, and Patty Jenkins issued a statement in December saying, yeah, sorry this happened. Some of the reports that have been floating around about myself are not very true, and in fact I am back with Lucasfilm, and Rogue Squadron is in active development. Cut to 3 months later, Rogue Squadron is no longer in active development.
Right.
So yeah, okay. What were your thoughts about Rogue Squadron? And in general, the project, were you excited about it? It was more of a, yeah, let's get a movie out, and no matter what it is.
I think that's the mentality they had at the time. I think it was, we need to get a movie out and let's run with it. Rogue Squadron has some awesome source material in the EU that you could pull from.
Yeah.
I mean, some amazing stuff. It would have been,
a series of novels, right?
Yeah. And had it been done correctly, you could have had a Star Wars Top Gun, like it would have been absolutely awesome to see something like that. And when they first,
by the way, Top Gun is Maverick is basically Star Wars. So
basically, yeah, basically. And when they announced Patty Jenkins, I was like, all right, because Wonder Woman 84 hadn't come out yet. If I remember.
No, it was 1 week away from coming out. Yeah.
And so I really enjoyed the first Wonder Woman, and I was like, this is going to be awesome. And then Wonder Woman 84 came out, and I was like, no, please, God, don't touch my Star Wars. Don't do this. And so this entire saga with her film has just been this, because I mean, it was announced in like December of 2020, right? And then now here we are 2.5 years later, and they finally got axed. And yeah, I was looking forward to it. I think it would have been an awesome film. I don't know if setting it post Rise of Skywalker was the right move. I think it indicated that they want to tell stories beyond those films. The fact that they were going to do that, but I think you got to keep in mind too, the whole Bob Chapek departing Disney, Bob Iger coming back in, reshuffling a bunch of stuff. it's almost like Bob Chapek was like, no Star Wars, do an Indiana Jones movie. That's all you're going to work on is Indiana Jones. Do an Indiana Jones movie, Kathy. Like, that's it. No Star Wars. Do that. We got Star Wars on TV. Dave and John are taking care of that. You do Indiana Jones.
I mean, he was very much pro Disney Plus.
Yes, he incredibly pro Disney Plus.
Yeah,
incredibly. And as great as that is, as great as the content we've gotten on Disney Plus, you got to have a balance between Disney Plus films or Disney Plus stuff and films. And no films, force falls out of balance, right? So I think they sat down collectively and decided, because there was an interview also, correct me if I'm wrong, there was an interview also where Kathy Kennedy said that there was a roadmap that they were putting together for a plan. And that was like a year ago.
Yeah, that was the Vanity Fair interview, which was very packed. And,
right, it was. It had
basically, she said, like, the timing of this was very, very
suspect.
It backfired completely for them.
Oh yeah,
because this interview happened in March of 2022, so 2 months before Celebration. But it went live on March 17th, which was like 10 days before Celebration. It was like the Tuesday, Wednesday before the week of Celebration. So in that story, she said that they had a plan, number one, and two, they were going to announce things in 2 months. Announce films in 2 months. Which was March. 2 months later, it was Celebration. Like, the writing was on the wall, right? So what happened in between? Well, I think we got the answer like a few months later when there was this report from Pac News with Matt Belloni, who said, JPEG told Kathleen Kennedy to hold any Star Wars film announcements. So that's probably why, Willow and Indiana Jones were at that studio showcase panel at Celebration.
And I think they decided they want to tell a coherent story.
So
if I remember right, she said, if films didn't fit into that plan, they were going to backburner them. And I was like, that's the right move. That's what you do. Don't make a movie just for the sake of making a movie. Make a movie that makes sense, with the story you're trying to tell. So I really liked that. And then nothing. It was like radio silence.
Which is going back to the timing thing. Like, all of this like makes sense if you understand. I think it makes sense, actually, at least. I don't know, maybe I'm alone with my theories here, but I think all of this makes sense if you look at the timeline. So Rogue Squadron was put on the back burner. Pre-production was halted. Pre-production basically means that they were a couple of months or 3 to 4 months away from filming. Like, they were gonna cast the movie, they were gonna build the sets, all of that. That was halted in the fall. And a few months later, in March, we got news that Lindelof was meeting with Lucasfilm, which we now heavily suspect is the next film to be announced. It is going to be the 2025 film. They have been working on that for a long time. And remember that when we hear this news, all of this has happened like sometimes months earlier. Which means that Lindelof was probably pitching to Lucasfilm around the time that Rogue Squadron was halted. And if Lindelof was pitching, more people were pitching too. So Lucasfilm at that time was probably thinking, let's come up with a plan. Let's invite people in, let's hear what they have to say, and what are their ideas for a post-Rise of Skywalker timeline. They liked what Lindelof pitched, and they went with it. What happened later? Lindelof started meeting with them regularly. He started probably working on a treatment and probably first draft of the script. In the summer of 2022, we know from the Hollywood Reporter that they assembled a writers' room where it was invited Justin Britt Gibson, who is co-writing the film with Lindelof, and a few other writers. Now I ask, why set up a writer's room with at least that we know of 5 people, plus we know that Dave Filoni also stopped by?
Yes.
Why do that if that is only going to be a one-time thing?
A one-off, right? They're doing a plan. They've got it.
They are doing an interconnected series of movies.
Yep. And I mean, okay, so look at the way we were talking about Marvel earlier. Look at the way Marvel does it. They drop 3 films a year.
Yep.
Granted, they're all in the same universe, but granted, they're not necessarily, those standalones are not necessarily connected. But then they end up doing these giant ensemble films later on where you bring everybody together, which personally I think they're doing with the shows with Mando and Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka. But that's a conversation another time. But I think I think that's the route they're going. If they're doing it for the High Republic book series, if they're doing it for novels and they're doing it for comics, they're doing it for the films. They're doing the exact same thing, and that's music to my ears. Exactly.
And I'm gonna add the final ingredient to the mix now, which is Taika's film.
Yeah.
Which is the 6th project that we know they were at some point developing. Now, Taika's film was announced 3 years ago, almost. Yeah. It was announced on May 4th of 2020, and it was reported in January of that year. So my guess is that they worked this out on the Mandalorian set. He directed the finale of Mando season 1. They said, "Hey, I like what you did. I liked. Let me see that film that you have called Jojo Rabbit." And he said, "Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna win an Oscar for that." And he did.
Yeah.
So they said, "Yeah, you wanna direct a Star Wars film? Sure. But I have to complete this film called Thor: Love and Thunder." So after it was announced, he started working on a treatment, on a story for the film, and Love and Thunder came out, and last year he said he was working on the script. Now there was one point last year where they were almost ready to announce, or pretty much, I think Kennedy confirmed that this was going to be the next film. That this was going to be, at that point, the 2023 film, which for some reason they were still thinking that they could make that date. But
somehow,
whatever. But I think this was said in the Vanity Fair interview, where he was, either there or on an interview with Total Film in Celebration, she said that all their future films, at least coming up, were going to be post episode 9. So, you put 2 and 2 together and you say, okay, Taika's film is going to be post episode 9. And he's also said that he wants new characters, new places, new. So, reading between the lines, I don't think he's doing a sequel to Lindelof's film. I think he is doing basically what Marvel does, where they do Iron Man and they do Captain America.
Right. So introducing different characters from different fronts. Yeah, right.
Yes, and he's doing like a setup film to later be continued, either with him or with other people. I think that's what's happening. Maybe I'm completely wrong about this. I think they're gonna clarify a lot of this at Celebration.
Oh yeah, we'll have more info in 3 weeks now, something like that. So it's good. It's just good to know, that they're putting everything together like that. And the only thing, the only thing that gives me pause. There's 2 things that give me pause about Taika doing a Star Wars film. There's the fact that Thor 4 was not received real well. You know what I mean? But that may not just be a him thing. That's just, it seems to be a growing trend with Marvel at the moment. Not necessarily later on, but at the moment, not being received real great. And so that kind of worries me a little bit. and the fact that he looked at Natalie Portman and was like, "Have you ever been in a Star Wars movie before? I'm doing Star Wars next. You want to be in a Star Wars movie?" And she's like, "I was." And he goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, I forgot about those."
No, okay. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here.
Sure.
Because, okay, so then the Portman thing, like that, I think that was very much like you can tweet that out months later, and you say, "Wow, this guy knows nothing about Star Wars." First of all, you don't need to know anything. I dare you to ask Tony Gilroy a thing about, Attack of the Clones. Like he knows nothing probably about Attack of the Clones.
Probably not.
Does
You're
that
probably
mean that he can't make a great Star Wars show?
Right.
No, he did. He did Andor. It was like it's probably gonna win a bunch of Emmys. It's not gonna beat out The Last of Us, but it's gonna be a contender for best drama. And that was a great that was a great show that was set in Star Wars. I don't know if it's a great Star Wars show or not, but we can leave that for another day.
Mm-hmm.
That's first of all. Second of all, I think that was probably set on set after working 10 hours straight.
Right.
We know that Taika never sleeps.
Right.
Okay, so please don't judge a guy.
And cocaine. Yeah, like it's.
I mean, please don't judge a guy who says something to be funny after a 10-hour shoot. The amount of stress and the amount of things that are going through his head.
Right.
Like, I know I was never ever bothered about that comment.
I have to be fair. I'm gonna tell on myself. My wife almost disowned me the other night because we were watching. What were we watching? We were watching The Last of Us. I think it was like a week and a half ago. It wasn't this last episode. It was the and we were talking about how we're huge fans of Pedro Pascal and everything. And you're right. It was late at night. I was half asleep, and I was like, man, if he ever did anything in Star Wars, I'd lose my mind. And I was like, and then she turned and looked at me like real slow, like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And then I said it again. And then as I was saying it again, I was mentally kicking my own butt because I remembered, oh crap. So no, I'll let that slide with Taika. You're right. You won me over. I'll let it slide.
And also, what was the other? The Love and Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy won an Oscar for writing a movie.
Yeah. Because on the flip side, I really liked Ragnarok.
And Jojo Rabbit. I think Jojo Rabbit is pretty much not a perfect movie, but it comes pretty close. Like that script is very tight.
Yeah.
Like I have no. Did I like Love and Thunder? Not very much, but I mean, first of all, I think there was a lot of editing issues with that movie. I think a lot of stuff was left out of the final cut, and I don't think that was Taika's call.
Right.
But that's me trying to be more positive about the guy. That has nothing to do with Star Wars. I think that was also the case for a few of the latest Marvel movies, but whatever. So yeah, I have no problem with. I do think it is very interesting, however, that every time a director gets announced for a new Star Wars film, they have a project coming out that turns out to be terrible.
That's true.
That happened to Josh Trank.
Yes.
That happened to Benioff and Weiss with Game of Thrones Season 8, which was very poorly received.
Right.
That happened to Patty Jenkins. Mm-hmm. That happened to, of course, Colin Trevorrow, but...
But no, right, yeah.
I'm fearing about at least Lindelof's new project is a Peacock show, which I don't think anybody cares about. So if that sucks, I don't think anybody is going to blink.
Right.
But, it's very interesting that every time these people get a new thing, and even Kevin Feige to an extent.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Do you think it's directly related to the fact that they're going to do a Star Wars movie?
No, I think it's a curse.
Do you think like they're in the middle of this awesome project, right? Like let's say Taika Waititi doing Thor: Love and Thunder, and he was killing it. And then he got the word, hey, you're going to do a Star Wars movie after this. And then everything else goes out the window. You're just like, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. And that's all you can focus on. Do you think maybe the quality of these films are dropping because people are like just trying to rush it to get to the Star Wars film?
No, because nobody's rushed it, because it's been 3 years and we have no Star Wars film.
That's true. That's true. Well, I mean, just the directors themselves individually.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
I think it's a curse they have to get over.
Yeah.
Like, it might, you might be onto something though.
I don't know. I might not be. I know if I was in a movie and all of a sudden they were like, hey, you're doing a Star Wars movie after this, good luck. And I was halfway through, I'd be like, well, crap, I want to finish this to work on that.
Yeah, but I can also, like, I don't know, Josh Trank, I think his Fantastic Four movie, that was the studio. Yeah. You can also say that about The Last Jedi, which is a film that I love, but it was very poorly received by the fans. Yeah. Not very much the critics, but the fans was very mixed. And so you can say that, and that happened right before it was announced. Right. It came out, sorry. Though it was probably talked about during the post-production of the film, when Kathleen Kennedy liked what she saw, etc. Right. And I think, I don't know, Benioff and Weiss, I think they put out exactly what they wanted. Whether that flew with the people that watched and even the people that appeared in the show, that's another story. But I think they did exactly what they wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a case-by-case basis, honestly. But
and you might be right. I mean, I think you absolutely might be right. But I mean, I hope it's not a curse that keeps following on and on and on. I really hope not.
I mean, now I'm fearing for Deadpool 3, but
but no. So the next one we've got coming out, though, the one we think is going to be announced for 2025.
Yeah. So I think it's Lindelof's.
Yeah.
Which Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy is directing.
She's say her name because I'm horrible with names.
Yeah. Okay. I probably screwed it up as well, but Sharmeen.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about her?
I really liked Ms. Marvel. I really enjoyed Ms. Marvel a lot, which was a surprise for me. That was a series that I thought I was just going to write off and just, it's just Ms. Marvel. I don't care, and I sat down on a Friday night I was looking for something to watch and it was there. And I was like, I'll watch the first episode, and I was hooked. And, she did such a great job of introducing this new character into an already established universe and did an amazing job of giving that character growth over the course of, one season of television for a character that, like people like me were going to write off. And I thought that was, so far to me, Ms. Marvel and Moon Knight are the two shining stars for Phase 4 for Marvel. And the fact that Ms. Marvel's one of them, the fact that she's attached to do this film, I am over the moon excited for this.
Okay, I'm going to play the other side of it.
Okay.
I liked Ms. Marvel quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But the episodes I liked the most were 1 and 6, which were the guys from Batgirl, Adil and Bilal directed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy directed episodes 4 and 5.
Okay.
Which were like my least favorite episodes.
Yeah.
Probably.
But she's coming on as a writer, though, isn't she?
No, director.
Oh, I don't know why I thought she was coming on as a co-writer.
No, the co-writer is Justin Britt Gibson.
Gotcha. Okay, we're on the same page now. Gotcha.
I have to rewatch the episodes. It's been a minute, but episode 4 I think was by far my least favorite, and episode 5 I didn't really love for reasons I don't want to get into, but I think those were the weaker parts of the show, the mid episodes.
Mm-hmm.
She's a 2-time Oscar winner. Okay, but she won 2 Oscars for documentary shorts. So does that mean that she can tell a story? No. That doesn't mean anything for her abilities to tell a good Star Wars story. Maybe she had a pitch for the film that Lindelof and Britt Gibson were developing that was killer, and maybe I will shut my mouth as soon as I see something or hear her say anything about Star Wars. But I am not in love with the idea of her directing as most people are, just because I didn't love those episodes as much as I loved the others.
Right. So there's this is kind of related to this. So do we think though that Kathleen Kennedy is going to be the one helming this slate moving forward? Because if it's somebody else coming in,
okay,
it could be an entirely different process than what they've done before.
My last conspiracy theory, I think for now, I do think she's gonna step down this July. I think that Indiana Jones 5 is gonna be her final hurrah. It's gonna be her riding into the sunset. I think that movie is gonna kill. I think that movie is gonna probably cross 700 million at the box office, if not more. I think that's gonna be a huge success for her, and I think she's gonna say, "Here you go, X person." I don't think that X person is gonna be Filoni or Favreau, for many reasons. But
you know, oh, you just said the magic F words, man. Filoni and Favreau. I swear to God, if they do that, I'm gonna be so happy.
No, I don't think it's gonna be them.
I don't think they're going to.
No. I think they're gonna stay on overseeing the Mandoverse for a few years.
Okay, gotcha.
I think they're grooming someone else from inside. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. You think they're going to announce that at Celebration?
I'm not sure.
I don't think that's where you announce that.
I don't think so, but maybe.
Like closing ceremonies, like.
Yes.
Man,
yes,
it go either way for me. Like it's a coin toss at this point. So let's hypothetically say it is going to happen. She is stepping down.
Yeah.
Does it happen at Celebration? Do they announce it at Celebration?
I give it a 30% chance.
At Celebration?
Yes, at the closing ceremony of Celebration. 30. I'm not putting money on it, but I'm not discarding it.
I've learned to never say never talking about Lucasfilm and Star Wars. So I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say 30-40% chance that they do it at Celebration, but I don't see that. I don't know if they would do it there. You know what I mean?
Maybe not, because I don't know how people would react. I don't think they want to find out how people would react.
Right.
You know, like, and it's very difficult for them to find out how they really feel from up there, you know. Like maybe people cheer because they're cheering for her finally stepping down, or maybe they're cheering for her whole career, you know, like cheering for the successes that Star Wars has had, because it has had successes over the past few years.
I don't think that announcement's coming till after Indy.
That is my 70%.
Yeah, I think it'll be right after Indy.
Yeah, I think that so Indy comes out on June 30th. I think July 1st. Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down. X person. I wouldn't be surprised if X person is called Carrie Beck, which is a name that has been popping out.
Heard that name? Yep.
A few times and more over the past couple of years.
Right. She was part of the story group, wasn't she? Or isn't she?
She was part of Rebels, and she maybe so. She was also, she came into live action through Mandalorian, I think.
Okay.
And mostly TV, and she's been stepping up through the ladder over the past few years, and maybe I think that name would make sense. She's young. She knows Star Wars. Maybe, I don't know. That's throwing a dart in the dark. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. No, I can see that.
I do think that her Kennedy's intent is to lay out the plan, set the next film into motion.
Mm-hmm.
I think pre-production for Lindelof's film, which has a script already done, I pretty much guarantee that.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm 95% sure they are casting the female lead as of right now.
Right now, so they can announce it.
Yes, I think they're going to announce the 2 leads at Celebration. And we know, going back to the previous comment about Rey's future, that it's going to involve somehow characters from the sequel trilogy that are not going to be the main characters, but they're going to play a part in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that first film from Lindelof had a Rey cameo.
Oh, yeah.
Not a major part in the film, but a Rey cameo.
I see them using Rey as a cameo simply to establish where this film takes place.
I mean, they can do that. Well, the First Order was defeated 10 years ago.
That's true, too. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. Opening crawl. Are we going to have opening crawls anymore?
I hope so. Please.
I do, too, because they only did it for the saga films. And so
Please.
Oh man, now I'm worried about the opening crawl. Oh man. So no, that's a good point too. And we don't know what the story is going to end up being. We don't know what story there is there to tell.
I am very excited to hear, because I do think that at Celebration we're going to find out when it takes place, like from the horse's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Director, writers, actors, title.
Oh yeah. I think that's
and
release date.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be December 19, 2025 or 18 or whatever it is.
Right. So, I think you're absolutely right, and I don't see them. I think Sydney made a comment earlier about release dates. Yeah, Lucasfilm being too scared to attach any hard release dates. I think she's right. I see them announcing maybe 1 or 2 more films, but yeah, no concrete dates. That's kind of where
I don't know. Yeah, she might be right about that. I don't know.
think so. Yeah,
I don't know. I can see them saying, yeah, let's not announce any dates. But I think that announcing directors is almost as damaging. So
can be. Yeah, actually, if not more so.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you push a release date back, okay. I mean, how many times do Marvel films move? Nobody loses their mind, and I think moving a Star Wars movie is no big deal, but you lose the director, that puts you in crisis mode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You lose the captain of the ship.
Yeah, because I also think that Taika's could be next after Lindelof's.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 2026. They have a date for 2027, but I bet they will add one into 2026. Because I don't think they want to do every 2 years.
I don't think they want to skip a year. They're getting ready to come off of 6 years without a Star Wars film. I think they're going to want to start pumping them out.
Because first of all, why isn't Disney saying, you guys make me $1 billion every time you put out a film? Why aren't you putting out more?
Right. We spent $4.3 billion to get those movies. Why aren't you making them? So, yeah. And then we got Sean Levy's film, the director of Deadpool,
which I think it's going to be 2027.
Yep. I think
because Deadpool 3 is September. I would say they're going to maybe push it a few months back, maybe November, early 2025. September, November 2024 or early 2025. So that lines up with script and pre-production by the end of 2025 and a 2027 release date. I think that makes sense, just roughly speaking, but I don't know.
And somewhere in there too, they could announce we're going to start doing 2 a year. If they
which I think they will.
Yeah.
Maybe not 2026, but maybe 2027 could have 2 films.
Start pumping 2 out a year every 6 months. Because you have that traditional May date, and then you've got December, which does really well also with release dates for Star Wars.
Which, I mean, May 2027 is the 50th anniversary of A New Hope.
Exactly.
Why not?
Right. So I think we're going to go back to a May/December release schedule, and I think it's going to be every 6 months, and that's if they can keep the cadence up and they can keep the films good and relevant. You know what I'm saying? Like, and actually make Star Wars magical. You know, and
I mean, the problem with the May release date is Marvel. Because the 2018 all over again. Because Marvel has the flag on the first week of May. So I think that could be a problem for Disney, but I don't know, maybe they find a way around it.
Right. Or, you know, you could even do middle of May. And still, I mean, even if you did it on the traditional May 25th, you know, like it's the official like anniversary. I don't think
I checked at some point that I think that was like a no-go. That was a Tuesday or a Sunday, or that was not a traditional release for a film, but they could put there around that
somewhere within that week window.
Yes,
you know what I mean, in there, and it's still going to be a big deal. Which, I mean, Disney competing with itself is, I mean, people like you and me, we're going to go see Marvel films. We're going to go see Star Wars films. We're going to go see all of it. You know, they're printing money away from us as it is.
Yeah, but there's also the marketing factor that they have X amount of money to spend a year, and they want to spread that out, and maybe they can't afford marketing 2 major films within a month.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Nate has a good point too. Nate's in the chat. He says not with Avatar 4 coming in 2026.
Is it? Okay, so I thought they were
if it stays in December. Yeah,
I thought they were skipping 2026 because it's not shot there yet.
See, here's the other thing too. 2026.
Well, it kinda is.
If we do get the Lindelof film in 2025, and it just breaks records, like it is, you know, word of mouth gets out that it's so good and it just starts breaking records. Come 2026, when you find out there's another one coming out right after, you're going to go see it. Most people are going to be like, hey, the last one was awesome, we're going to go see this one.
I mean, I'm just waiting for Hollywood to exploit August. So like
August?
August. Like August is an empty month usually. Like dump a movie in there, it's probably gonna make a lot of money.
That's my birthday month. I'd love to get Star Wars for my birthday month. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But, anyway, and then but yeah, the Sean Levy film. When does Deadpool 3 come out? Is it this year?
No, that's 2020. They're shooting in May of this year. So that's gonna the official release date right now is it is November 2024.
2024. Okay, so next year.
Yes. So there's a weird thing about that, and it's that Blade is September of 2024. So why is Blade, which is more horror centric and more Halloween related, coming out in September as opposed to November? Maybe they swap those two, or maybe they push Deadpool 3 into February, which is when the first film came out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the first one came out in February.
Which I think they could do, which they could push it, but whatever. It's gonna be a 2 month, 2 month up or down window that he's not gonna care about. That's you know, not really important. But around that time.
Do with Star Wars.
What?
I'm excited to see what he can do with Star Wars.
He already had a lightsaber in a film.
He did with Free Guy.
Yep.
Free Guy. I really enjoyed Free Guy.
Spoilers.
I thought it was great. He even messed around with the Marvel stuff a little bit. But no, I thought that was great. And Taika, he worked with Taika on that film also. So
that's right.
He was in there. And so, you know, you've got this kind of family forming, you know what I mean, of all these network people getting networked. But I'm excited for it, man. I really am. I can't wait. So which ones do you think will be getting announced next month?
Taika and Lindelof. I don't think they're going to announce Levi.
Okay.
Maybe a third, but maybe no. Like, I don't know. Maybe they do. Here's our plan. We're going to something similar to what James Gunn just did.
Mm-hmm.
He said, we're going to make a few films. We know some people are working on it. We have been contacting people to work on some of this, and for some of the rest, not yet. But that's coming. Maybe they're going to do something similar. Maybe they want to say, I don't think they're going to do a trilogy. I think they're going to do a series of films. Maybe they want to say, we're going to build new characters here, here, and here. And stay tuned for more news. I don't know.
Well, I've heard that the trilogy format in Star Wars is dead. And
Yeah, I think that's very
I think
constraining for them.
yeah, I mean, now that you've done Mando, Book of Boba Fett, and we've got Ahsoka coming out, these are all serial series.
Yep.
You can tell a story that way, and honestly, you can tell a better story that way. You've got more screen time. I mean, think about with Obi-Wan Kenobi, that ended up being like, what was it? Like 4 or 5,
3.5 hours, more or less.
total.
I think so.
Something like that.
I think it's under 4, but I'm not sure.
That's 2 Star Wars movies right there.
Yeah, I know.
And people are complaining about how short the episodes are. Look at the whole season. I mean, look at how much content you're getting in the span of 2 months. And you put it all together and you tell a coherent story that way, and I don't think we need the trilogy format anymore. I think it's cool we have a trilogy of trilogies and a couple of standalones, but after that, just tell the story, make the movie that serves the story the best moving forward.
Yeah.
So, and I guess you could still do. I mean, if they're doing a whole, are they doing a whole new saga like after Episode 9? Because then we had the Skywalker saga, and now we're gonna have whatever this is gonna be. Is it gonna start over at Episode 1 and then go Episode 2, Episode 3, or is it just gonna be standalone titles?
I don't know, but I will say, like, probably I'm gonna make a lot of people mad with this, but I hope they stay away from the Skywalker saga timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I were there, and I'm gonna I don't think you're gonna like this, but I would kill Mando in 2 years.
Yeah,
like wrap that up. 2 years. You have 2 years. Get that done, and we're moving away. I am tired of recycling characters, stormtroopers, the Empire. We've done all of this so many times.
Yep.
Go forward or go backwards, but don't touch between what is it, 29 BBY, Phantom Menace, and then Rise of Skywalker.
It's like 35 ABY, or it's I think it's like 35 ABY.
Okay, 35. Okay,
something like that. But no, there's like a 60-year period there where you just don't touch it anymore at all.
I mean,
and
get on with it.
We've got the High Republic that is in full swing, and we know the Acolyte is going to be High Republic era,
which we just got confirmation that it's going to be multiple seasons.
Yep. So I'm wondering
that's an interesting prospect. I still think it's too close to Phantom Menace being 100 years before.
Years, we want to go back thousands of years. We want to go way back, Old Republic. Not High Republic, Old Republic. That's what we want. So
I mean, you want to tell the story of the Acolyte and how Palpatine was created, and Darth Plagueis and all. That's cool, but after that, go back 3,000 years. I don't want to hear the name Skywalker or any of that. Move backwards or move forward. I want to know what the galaxy looks like after the final defeat of Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious to hear what Lindelof's idea for this new era is like.
Because we've never seen a Star Wars galaxy not under the thumb of Palpatine.
Exactly.
We've never seen it. And so
not in canon.
What does that look like? What does that look like? So I think that's a great idea. And I hate to say it, Star Wars fans, the whole fandom can be so toxic. It's not the fandom. It's a very small part of the fandom that is
very loud.
Right. And so no matter what they announce at Celebration, there's going to be some small bit of backlash. Just ignore it.
Online, probably. I think they're going to hear cheers in the room, matter what they say.
Yeah. I want to know when they're going to announce it to the general public, because they're not going to broadcast this stuff.
I mean, that's going to be tweeted out instantly.
But I mean, there's something about watching the...
I hate that, because I'm going to Celebration this year. I went last year, and you know why I went? Because I watched 2017 and 2019 from my couch.
Yeah.
I watched the live stream
Yeah.
and I said, you know what? I want to be there.
Yeah.
I want to feel that.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're not promoting their own event for more people to say the same thing, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree. Even I think was it last year's celebration?
Yeah.
When they didn't broadcast anything, I was sitting in front of the computer like, all right, let's do this. All right, let's see what they've got. And then that cut and it just said brought to you by Verizon. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you serious? Like, what the heck, man? And so, yeah, no, I'm jealous. I want to go to Celebration so bad. I've never been. I want to go so bad.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I say that as someone who didn't get into any of the major panels last year. So that's not the most fun part, that's cool.
Yeah.
But even as I look back, like the Mandalorian footage they showed, I've seen it now.
Yeah.
I watched the first two episodes. It was all there. Like, but the memory of that week, that's not going away.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm truly jealous that you're going. I really am. So some of the panels they've got lined up for Celebration this year, some of the big standout ones, Lucasfilm Studio Showcase, first thing Friday morning. That's the big kickoff. Behind the scenes for Andor, that's going to be cool. Obi-Wan is kind of surprising. Kind of, but not really.
So I was thinking that my first thought was a season 2 announcement.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm not convinced anymore because of the people that are there.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they were going to do a season 2 announcement, I think the two people that would have to be there are Obi-Wan and Moses Ingram.
Yeah.
And people, Indira Varma is there, who is not coming back for season 2 if they do that. Hayden is there, which could come back, but I don't think that story could work as well.
Yeah, no.
And young Leia, the same. Like,
you don't want to copy and paste.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's gonna be similar to the 40th anniversary panel for Return of the Jedi. Like,
the only way I see a season 2 of Obi-Wan working is if it's Luke that gets his butt into trouble and Obi-Wan has to go traveling halfway across the planet to get Luke back, or or whatever. But they did that in the first season. I don't think.
Get over it. Like,
no, there doesn't need to be a second season.
Like, I want them to get over the whole Skywalker saga timeline, but they're not gonna do that. So have Ewan McGregor in another show. We know Andor is bringing back legacy characters, which Tony Gilroy has said. Put Obi-Wan in 2 scenes. I don't know.
No, I think this is just going to be a rehash, because at Celebration last year they had the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan, and then that was the rest of the series came out after Celebration. So I think this is just going to be a rehash of this is how we did it. It was so cool being on the set and blah blah blah, whatever. It's gonna be an hour and a half long, something like that. I think that's all it's gonna end up being, and it's on Sunday, so it can't be that big of a deal. So and then we've got the Ahsoka panel Saturday morning, which I think a lot of people are itching.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have the trailer is guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna show a trailer there, and they're gonna release it online.
Yeah.
They're gonna announce a release date.
Mm-hmm.
And they are gonna announce the full cast. I think you're getting Emanis Fandi as Ezra announced there.
You think they're gonna announce if Thrawn's in it? You think they're gonna announce Thrawn, or do you think they're just gonna be like, here's everybody, and not say anything about Thrawn? Because you don't.
I don't know.
That could be a spoiler depending on who you are. You know what I mean? Like, or do you just wait for the series to come out? And that's one of those things where you're like, what?
I think that people staying tuned into the news are gonna know it anyway that Ezra and Thrawn are coming, because they're not really hiding it, or at least they're doing a very bad job at hiding it.
Oh yeah, they're doing horrible.
Like last year, Filoni basically confirmed that it's gonna be a Rebels reunion. So you can't really have a Rebels reunion and a Thrawn line in Mandalorian and not have both characters in there. So there's not really a reason to hide them.
Yeah, that's true.
But
You
you
know,
know,
you think they're
Filoni.
gonna announce who's playing him then?
What?
You think they're gonna announce who's playing him?
I give it a 55% chance.
55%. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. A little more optimistic than a coin toss. Fair enough.
Yes.
And then we've got the 40th anniversary Return of the Jedi panel, which will be cool.
Which, but like, yeah, I wanna maybe my huge final thought on the celebration
Oh, yeah,
lineup. Why isn't this panel the first one in one of the mornings? Why is which, jumping ahead, villains of the sequel trilogy, which is Sunday morning, which is like the big spot of the day, the one they reserve for the big panel. Why isn't like the Star Wars 40th anniversary opened in 2017? Why isn't Return of the Jedi opening? Why is it dumped on the, like, this is the original trilogy,
right?
You know,
I don't know.
like I don't know. It was very weird to me that I thought they were totally gonna open celebration with this panel. This is going to be the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi celebration.
Right.
But I don't know. They're doing it at 2 p.m. or something. It's very weird.
God, and it's hard to believe Clone Wars is already 15 years old.
Yep.
Jeez, that 15-year anniversary is Saturday afternoon. Saturday afternoon's going to be packed. Young Jedi Adventure screening. But you're right. The villains of the sequel trilogy panel will be cool. We're getting Ian McDiarmid, Andy Serkis, and Gwendolyn Christie.
Yes,
is going to be on that panel. That'll be anything with Ian McDiarmid. I'm tuning for,
and Andy Serkis as well.
Yeah,
he's a very well-spoken person.
Visions Volume 2. They're going to release a trailer for that. I guarantee it.
They might show one of the shorts as well.
Yeah. I don't see much coming out of the Bad Batch panel.
Oh, yeah, they're gonna have a season 3 announcement. I think.
I think there's gonna be an announcement, but I don't.
Yes, because you don't really have a Bad Batch panel on the final day on the main spot, which again, 11 a.m. is the main spot of each of the days. You don't have that 2 weeks after the season finished. If
is
you
it gonna be finished by then? Oh, it is. It is going to be finished.
Or I don't know, 10 days maybe. I don't know. Like,
right now that I'm thinking, crap, I didn't realize that. Yeah, I was still thinking for some reason Bad Batch was still going to be going at that. I thought we were going to be in the middle of season 2 when that panel hit.
No, I think it's right. I think we're 4 episodes away now.
You're right. Yeah, I think you're right. Man,
I know. I think it will be done either by 10 days or 5 days or somewhere in there.
Like that. You're right. Man, it's going to be a big year this year. It's going to be a massive year. I already told my boss at work. I was like, hey, so on Friday the 7th, I'm going to have one monitor up to YouTube all day, and I'm going to have my headphones in.
I mean, think that it's going to be a 5-hour difference for you?
Yeah, something like that. Oh, it is going to be later, isn't it? Or is it going to be early? Wait,
earlier.
It's going to be way early. Oh, crap.
I think.
Yeah, I'm going to have to wake up and look at all this news. Crap. It is what it is. It is what it is. I'll get to it.
I mean, some of us stayed up until 5 a.m. on Sunday to watch the Oscars. So
see, I don't stay up to watch like Mando and Bad Batch and stuff. I usually wait until the next day and watch it with my wife, and we all sit down and watch it together. But she's a huge Mandalorian freak. Anything that has to do with the T visor, anybody with a T visor anywhere, she's in her mind. So, but speaking of Mandalorian, we got a new episode this past week.
Yep.
And we have another episode dropping in like 4 or 5 hours, something like that, from right now. So, what did you think of this last week's episode, The Mines of Mandalore?
I thought it was much better than the premiere.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I was not a big. In fact, I actually think I was quite negative. I was quite negative in my review. I did a review for Star Wars Newsnet. I was quite negative, but after thinking about it, I think I wasn't negative enough because there were like a lot of things that I didn't really like.
Right.
But this episode was much, much, much better.
I agree.
It was tighter but longer, which was very contradictory, but in this case, not so much.
Right.
And I do want to throw a point out here in the world to see what you think. Because I think both episodes, like chapter 17 and chapter 18,
Yeah.
improve significantly if you do just one thing, which is to swap the epilogue of chapter 17, which was the Bo-Katan scene, with the cold open of chapter 18. So
Switch those two scenes.
you have
Gotcha.
Mando on Tatooine picking up R5
Mm-hmm.
and basically saying, IG-11 is not coming back, at
Right.
least for a couple of episodes. And you have the scene with Bo-Katan, which was, I think, completely misplaced in the first episode. You have that at the beginning, so it plays as a true cold open.
That's, you know what? Now that you say that, that is so weird that he went all the way there to a moon of Mandalore, talked to Bo-Katan, and then went all the way back to Tatooine. I didn't even think of that. That's, oh man, you're right. You need to switch those two scenes around. You're absolutely right. It would have made way more sense that way.
And chapter 18 also makes more sense because the cold open doesn't really feel like an opening for the episode. It feels like tying back to the previous week.
Right. God, I didn't even think about that. You're absolutely right. Man, Nate and I were on here last week, and I was talking about how Mando and the Armor kind of 180'd each other on their opinions about Mandalore, and he didn't catch on to that. Now you just returned the favor, and I didn't catch on to that. Man, dang it! Now I'm really mad. I was like, you're absolutely right. And
I do think that at some point in the edit, those scenes were changed. Like, in fact, the cold open for chapter 18 works as the ending, like with Grogu looking out the window to see the fireworks, and that works as the ending of an episode.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this was done in the script, how I'm describing it, and then they changed it in the edit, or I don't know.
That's a solid point. Didn't even think about it. But you know what? I'm happy though. R5D4 is getting some love.
Yeah,
he's getting some love, man. And you know, I always liked that droid growing up. He was, believe it or not, like R2 was obviously my favorite astromech, but R5 was my second. Like, he looked awesome. and so seeing him pop back up, and he's even got the burn mark from where his motivator popped. Like, it's so great to see that. And that seems to be a running theme with what they're calling the Mandoverse, right? I mean, you keep putting these little dropping Easter eggs like crazy. You've got R5, you've got the BD unit that she's got. You had, Cobb Vanth. How awesome is this? Wearing Boba Fett's armor, riding on Darth Vader's pod racer. You don't get more badass than that. So it's just all these little nuggets keep getting dropped, and it's like, oh God, this is so great. Makes me excited for what's coming this season.
You know what makes me really excited about what's coming next? That we don't know anything.
Nothing.
Because 95% of the trailers were in the first 2 episodes?
Yep.
Like, besides the shot from the Jedi Temple with the Jedi,
flashback, right?
And a couple of others. The Mandalorians shooting down from the ship over a city. And maybe a couple of others. We've seen most of what's in the trailers.
That's mainly it. I'm thinking I see the next episode being the intro of Moff Gideon again.
Yes, me too.
I see that being kind of the forefront of the next episode. I think it's time, because we know he's coming back. We know he's going to be pretty prominent this season.
Yes.
And so I think we're going to see him again next season. Sydney said somebody was like, get Bo in episode 1. I don't care how you do it.
Yes, that completely felt like a studio note.
Yeah, it did. It really did. You switch those scenes, nobody will notice. It'll be okay. Just do it. And I think she's absolutely right. She asked another one a while ago. Let me see if I can find it again here. Here it is. Do we know when Skeleton Crew takes place on the timeline?
Yeah, it's around the Mandalorian.
Is it around the same time?
Which this is to my point about the first episode. The first episode was all about checking marks. It was all about, so what do we want to do with the new season of Mandalorian? We want to, it has to be bigger with more Mandalorians. Cold open, check. We have to set up Ahsoka. Space whales, Check.
Yeah.
We have to set up skeleton crew. Okay, have those pirates over a school with children.
Yep.
What's skeleton crew about? A group of children lost in space.
Yep. I was thinking the exact same thing, that because it was just a quick flash with those pirates and the the Eclipse style ship, the Star Destroyer Eclipse looking design. And then it was gone. It was over. And you don't make a weird new alien that looks that cool just for a 40-second shot.
So I don't know if it takes place before Mandalorian season X or after. I don't know when Ahsoka takes place either, to be honest. The whole timeline
it's muddy now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's around that time. It's post Return of the Jedi at around 6 to 8 years.
Something like that. I think that's where we're at with Mando now too, isn't it? I mean, because we started at 5. So yeah, Jon Favreau kind of muddied the waters. He threw a rock into it, and it was just like, oh man, you should have left well enough alone. We had it figured out. Now we don't, but that's okay. I think we're gonna find that out too at Celebration.
I don't know about that. I think maybe Ahsoka when Ahsoka takes place, but I also think Ahsoka is gonna mess up the timeline even more because they're doing the World Between Worlds, so that's gonna be.
Yeah. Are they doing a panel for Skeleton Crew?
No. I think they might drop something during the Ahsoka panel or possibly the studio showcase.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna
that's where it's gonna be. It's gonna be at the Lucasfilm Studio showcase.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Because they might show a trailer for the final 2 episodes of Mandalorian, which another conspiracy theory for Celebration. I think they're gonna announce Sabine in Mandalorian season 3, which is she's gonna be in episode 7, which is the episode that airs right after Celebration.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? We're gonna see how right you are, because I want you to be right. I really, really want you to be right.
I would put $100 Sabine is on season 3. Yes, okay. I am 110% convinced we're gonna see what Sabine Wren looks like in live action before the end of in a few weeks, like in Mandalorian.
Yeah, it does seem to be that trend. We saw Ahsoka first in Mando, popped up in Book of Boba Fett. Now we're getting Ahsoka, the series.
And Sabine makes complete sense. First of all, she's a Mandalorian. Second of all, she had the Darksaber before Bo-Katan.
Exactly. Yep. And so oh boy, can you imagine those two in a room together, live action? I mean, this is gonna be such a great season of Mando. I'm so excited, dude. It's such a good time to be a Star Wars fan. If they can get the films off the ground, if they can do that, it'll be a great time to be a Star Wars fan. So, man, we've been going in almost an hour and a half. I think this is the longest live we've ever done.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're fine. No worries at all. I'm glad we did it a little earlier. I know it's late where you're at.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did it a little earlier. For those of you watching, before we went live, I thought we were doing it at 10 p.m. my time again, which would have been like ridiculous late for you. And then you're like, yeah, I'll see you in 45 minutes. I'm like, wait. Like, are we moving? We can move it up. That's fine. I got no problem doing that. So, but I've had fun, man. I think it's been a great stream. I've had a lot of fun talking to you.
Yeah, man. Me too.
So, where can people find you at, man?
I'm pretty much every day writing at Star Wars Newsnet. I am also talking everything about movies whenever I can at Movie Newsnet, which is Star Wars Newsnet's sister place, which we talk a lot. We just did Last of Us. We just had a ton of movie news drop in the past couple of hours, which I'm probably gonna cover for tomorrow, which I don't know if you saw, but Quentin Tarantino just announced his 10th film. So,
did he?
He didn't announce, but there's a report saying that he's filming it this fall.
Gotcha. I'm a big Tarantino fan, so that has me excited. Heck yeah. And you guys can find me on Twitter at Brian Miller 1138. I've had a lot of fun talking with you tonight, man. I love doing these live streams for news.
Yeah, me too.
This is a blast, dude. And if you guys want to keep hearing me talk more about Star Wars and Star Wars canon material in particular, you can find me on my show, the Star Wars Canon Podcast. we're going to be making a big comeback here before long. And actually, come May 6th, I wanted to put this announcement out there while I'm thinking about it. I'm going to be doing a 24-hour long live stream. We're going to be playing Jedi Fallen Order all the way through, and then if and when we get done with it during the 24 hours, we should. I'm going to Survivor comes out like the week before, and so we're going to sit down and we're going to start Jedi Survivor, and we're going to go. But during the stream, we're going to be trying to raise money to raise awareness for and to prevent veteran suicide. And so I'm going to be giving away, not really giving away, I'm going to be prizing off my hardback Star Wars collection for a certain donation to come in. You guys get to pick which book you want, and I'll send it to you. So as a thank you for your donation. So we're going to be doing that on May 6th. Really looking forward to that. So I want to throw that out there too. So anything you want to add, Miguel, before we call it a night?
Nah, let's get out of here.
Let's get
People
out of here.
have had enough, probably.
Until next time, guys. May the force be with you.
Bye.